The world is still dark. The stars are faint, barely glowing in the black velvet of the sky. You are not here. Not in this moment. Not in your room. Not in your time. Instead, you drift slowly, softly, into a different world. It's the Fertile Crescent, that sweeping curve of land between the Tigris and Euphrates Rivers. The land where human cities were born, where agriculture grew roots deep in the soil, and where people first began to shape clay into written thoughts. But tonight, we are not with rulers or armies or mighty builders. No. Tonight, we are with the small people, the quiet ones, those whose names did not echo through history, but who lived just the same. Farmers, bakers, weavers, mothers, children, friends. We are in a village, a small Mesopotamian village tucked away between a slow canal and a pale ridge of hills. The air is cool, a whispering kind of cool, not cold, the kind that clings gently to your skin before the sun begins its rise. You can smell clay, fresh earth, and the fading memory of last night's fire. The village is made of mudbrick, homes built of earth and straw, dried beneath the sun, packed tightly together like sleeping cattle, huddled for warmth and belonging. Their walls are rough, marked with small lines from the hands that built them. The rooftops are flat and covered in woven mats or scattered straw. There is no sound, only the long, slow breath of a world still resting. A breeze tiptoes through the palm fronds, and if you listen closely, you may hear the distant trickle of water in a canal. The first stirrings of life are not loud. They do not burst. They do not alarm. They creep in slowly. A soft grunt from a tethered donkey. The rustle of straw beneath a turning body. The sigh of a woman sitting up on her mat, stretching her arms toward the low ceiling, brushing her fingers across the clay beam. She is middle-aged, with lined face and thick hair braided before sleep. She ties it back again now, loosely. She stands. Her feet touch the cool, packed floor. She moves without sound, stepping over her sleeping children. One stirs, rolls onto his side, and continues dreaming. She pours a little water into a bowl. She takes a sip and washes her face with her hands. There is no mirror, but she does not need one. Outside, she opens the wooden door and steps into the world. The sky is no longer black. It is soft purple, like bruised lavender. The east glows gently, hinting at the coming sun. She looks toward it, but does not stare. The well awaits. She walks down the narrow alley between sleeping homes. Her neighbors' rooftops are dotted with people wrapped in cloth, still resting under the stars. Some sleep outside when the air is warm. The homes can be hot, even now. Her path curves gently. She carries a clay jug in her arms, old, chipped, but strong. It was made here. Everything in this village is made here. At the well, she finds another woman, older, gray hair tied back, arms strong. They nod to one another. Words are not yet needed. They work together, lowering the rope, drawing up the creaking bucket, filling the jug. They pass each other tools, steady and sure. These movements have been learned through generations. Nearby, a rooster calls, not loudly, just once, then again as if announcing the day softly, not commanding it. They return home the same way, slowly. Children have begun to wake. A small boy with hair like straw runs past them, barefoot, chasing a dog that isn't trying very hard to get away. The village awakens like this every day, quietly, repeatedly, like breath. The warmth of the sun arrives not with brilliance, but with the gentlest golden light spreading across the walls of the eastern homes. Shadows begin to shrink. In the kitchens, simple open spaces near the back of each house, fires are rekindled. Each hearth is sacred in its own quiet way, not in ceremony, but in purpose. It is where life happens. Bread is baked, stews are warmed, hands are warmed after work, and stories are passed from older mouths to younger ears. Our woman, the one we first met, now tends to her clay stove. It is no taller than her knee and rounded with a mouth shaped for feeding both fire and flatbread. She gathers palm fronds, old straw, and animal dung, all of which burn slowly. A practiced hand sets flame. The smoke climbs upward in a lazy spiral through the roof hole into the brightening sky. Elsewhere in the village, mortars and grinding stones come to life. You can hear the slow, rhythmic scrape of stone on stone, women preparing flour from emmer wheat. It's not loud, more like a song of motion repeating through time. A girl no older than 10 pours a small pile of grain into her mother's grinding basin. Her sleeves are rolled, her arms already dusted white. Her movements are unsure but steady. She looks up once, her eyes catching a nearby neighbor doing the same work. They smile. Cooking is not rushed. It cannot be. The dough takes time to rise under the warm sun. The vegetables, onions, garlic, wild greens, are chopped with care. A small pot is set to boil over the coals. In one corner, a young man repairs a collapsed portion of his roof. He climbs the small ladder, handfuls of mud and straw in his arms. He packs them against the broken spot with slow, thick movements. As he works, he hums, a melody without origin, the tune of a man working alone. And in another home, an elder massages oil into her joints. The oil smells of bitter herbs, something between thyme and smoke. She sits near a window hole, watching children play with clay animals. These small sculptures, oxen, goats, birds, are molded by hand. Some are shaped after real animals. Others are strange, imagined, part fish, part horse with wings and curled horns. The children laugh at the oddest ones, passing them around, inspecting the work like miniature artisans. The village is fully awake now, but not hurried, never hurried. As the morning ripens, the men gather near the eastern path. They carry simple tools, wooden plows, baskets, cords, and shovels. Some wear reed hats, others carry their water jars in slings. Before they leave for the fields, they pause to talk. There is no shouting, only low conversation. Some news is shared. A cousin has returned from the city of with word of a new market. A nearby field yielded more onions than expected. A jar broke in the storage room, and someone found a mouse inside. These are not urgent stories, but they are important in their own quiet way. The men begin to walk in 2s and 3s along the canal. The tools clack softly against their backs. Their footprints leave pale marks in the dust. Behind them, the village exhales, and the day stretches forward. Beyond the edge of the village, the land flattens into pale dust and occasional tufts of green. Small canals snake across the fields, drawing water from the greater arteries of the Euphrates. They are old, dug by hand, widened each year with patient labor. Without them, nothing could grow.
The men walk in silence. Their shadows stretch long behind them as the sun climbs. Every step is familiar. Every stone and dip in the path is known. At the edge of the wheat field, a farmer kneels. He plunges his hands into the dry earth, lifts it, sniffs it, then he nods. The water has reached deep enough. It's time. Simple tools are unpacked, wooden plows dragged behind oxen. The beasts are slow and steady, ropes creak, the ground is turned. Men take turns leading the animals while others pull weeds, gather roots, patch canal walls with reeds and mud. Every task is shared. No one works alone unless they choose to. Across the field, a boy no older than 12 tosses stones toward a group of birds trying to pick at the grain. He does not yell. His movement is enough. Time passes slowly here. In the distance, other villages shimmer in the rising heat. Smoke trails drift up from their rooftops. The land is dotted with humans, but never crowded. Some men sing, soft songs without instruments, drifting in the air like bird song. The melodies have no beginning and no end. By midday, the sun is high. Cloaks are drawn over heads. A break is called. Shade is scarce, but they find some beneath a grove of date palms. Dates are shared, water passed around. The jug is cool from the canal. Conversation remains slow and spare. They speak of soil, of the patterns of birds, of how the moon has looked larger this week. A man remembers a story his father once told him about a fish with human teeth that lives at the river's deepest bend. The others listen quietly. One smiles. Then, as if by an unspoken agreement, the work resumes. Back in the village, the day has warmed. Women carry jars to the communal oven at the center of the street. It's fired with thick logs, a luxury, and today it bakes several loaves at once. Children play beside it, molding new clay figures, tracing lines in the dust. And inside homes, the soft rhythm of weaving begins, the creak of tensioned strings, the shuttle moving back and forth. All things in the village have their sound, their rhythm, and all are gentle. As the sun reaches its peak, the village softens into stillness. The air grows thick with warmth. Shadows cluster tightly around corners and walls, shrinking beneath the weight of the midday light. In this time, work pauses. The sounds of tools and footsteps fade, replaced by a quiet hum of rest. Children are called into the shade. Dogs lie flat against cool patches of stone. Even the flies seem slower now. A woman carries a shallow basin of water into her home, placing it carefully near the mat where her youngest lies. She wets a cloth, brushes it gently across the child's cheeks. The child murmurs, not quite awake, not quite dreaming, and turns toward the coolness. Near the central courtyard, a small group gathers, elders mostly, men with long beards and women with weather-lined hands. They sit on mats and overturned baskets, sipping diluted date wine from clay cups. They speak, but never all at once. One will say a sentence, then the rest pause, not in silence but in listening. One tells of a time when the river rose higher than the reeds. He describes how the fish came all the way to the garden's edge and how they caught them with woven baskets. Another laughs, remembering how his brother slipped into the water chasing one and lost a sandal he never found. The others nod, some smile. They've heard these stories before, but no one complains. Stories, like bread, are meant to be shared again and again. Elsewhere, a mother sings to her baby. The song is simple, a lullaby without words, just sounds that roll like river water. She sways as she sings, her voice as soft as the breeze that slips in through the door. The communal oven continues to smoke gently. The flatbreads are removed and laid on reed mats to cool. Their smell, warm and earthy, fills the air. A boy reaches for one and is gently tapped away by a girl just a little older. He grins and waits nearby, pretending not to watch. At another home, a young woman sets up pigments, crushed minerals mixed with oil and water. She paints with a reed brush onto a clay tablet. Not letters, but patterns, curves and loops. A decoration for the home, or perhaps a gift. Painting is her quiet joy, a private kind of voice. The only real movement in this hour is the slow passing of time. It stretches, then folds back on itself. Minutes become moments. Moments stretch like thread on a loom. Above, the sun continues its slow journey westward, and the world begins to stir again.
As the sun lowers slightly in the sky, the village begins to move again, not hurriedly, but with a sense of return, the stillness of midday passing into the productive calm of afternoon. In the fields, the shadows grow longer, stretched out like fingers across the furrows. The oxen are rested, their yokes loosened briefly under a fig tree, and now they rise again to continue their slow path through the soil. Their hooves press deep into the earth, turning rows in a ritual repeated across centuries. The farmers, though warm with sun and work, remain quiet. Their focus is not strained, it is practiced. Every movement, from lifting a plow to repositioning a basket of grain, is made with knowledge passed through hands over generations. Back in the village, the craft workers begin to reassemble. The potter, shaded under a woven canopy, wipes his hands on a damp cloth and returns to his wheel. A lump of clay, once just earth, is being coaxed into a tall vessel. His fingers work gently, shaping the form from memory, not plans. Beside him, 2 apprentices prepare the next batch, mixing water into dry clay, pressing it underfoot to achieve the right consistency. They speak in whispers, exchanging simple observations. The last one dried too quickly. This one is thicker. It will last longer. Further down the street, the weaver resumes her rhythm. Her loom clicks and clacks softly. The pattern she creates is not elaborate, but it is balanced, tight, and purposeful. Threads of dyed wool and flax alternate, building the fabric of blankets, clothing, and sacks. The rhythm of the loom, the squeak of wood and fiber, joins the sounds of distant birds and soft conversation. The village is singing again, not with music, but with motion. Near a shaded wall, 2 boys gather small stones and bits of baked clay. They are building a game, a miniature city, perhaps, or a pen for animals. Their play mirrors the world they see, shaped with the imagination of young minds that notice every tool, every voice, every moment. In one corner, a man carves a reed flute. The sound it makes is gentle, barely above a whisper. He tests each note, adjusting the holes with care, his brow furrowed in peaceful concentration. He is not making it for sale or show.
He is making it for the evenings. The scent of herbs rises again. A woman grinding dried mint, coriander, and garlic into a paste. She prepares a dish for the evening, slow-cooked with lentils. The smell drifts outward, curling through alleys and open doorways. Another woman uses a small bone needle to stitch a child's tunic. She hums the same melody heard earlier, the one passed between mothers. Her fingers are calloused but delicate. In the shadow of the granary, 3 men sort through bundles of reeds harvested from the river's edge. They're selecting the best for roof repairs and basket weaving. Each reed is inspected, bent, tested. The work is slow, but not dull. It has meaning. As the sun dips lower, the light becomes golden. Shadows lengthen. The village takes on a gentle amber hue, and the air cools just enough to lift the spirits. One last jar is glazed and placed to dry. One final stitch is tied off. A laugh echoes from the courtyard, short, genuine, fleeting. And just like that, the afternoon shifts toward evening. As the sun edges closer to the horizon, a slow, golden hush falls across the village. Work winds down, but the pace does not quicken. Tools are put away deliberately. Water jars are refilled at the well. The potter wraps his wheel with cloth, careful not to leave it too exposed to the cooling air. The farmers return by the same well-trodden path, their baskets half filled, their feet caked in fine dust. The sounds of the day mellow. No clanging, no shouting, only soft footsteps, wooden doors creaking, muted laughter. The oxen are led back into their pens, their heavy bodies swaying in the waning light. They drink deeply from troughs filled with cool water drawn straight from the canal. Inside homes, small fires are rekindled. Clay hearths glow faint orange as families prepare their simple meals. A bubbling stew of lentils, chopped onions, dried fish, and spices simmers in a rounded pot. The scent mixes with roasted barley cakes and wild herbs, carried slowly on the breeze. Children are called inside, one by one, though a few linger, reluctant to surrender the day. They chase the last light with clay toys and tiny footprints in the dust. A mother claps softly from the doorway, and the last of them obeys, reluctantly but without protest. Evening brings a softness. It's in the way people speak, slower, lower, like the tone of someone finishing a long story. Elders sit again in familiar spots, this time with hands resting on their knees, eyes squinting toward the amber sky. Some climb ladders to the rooftops. Here it is cooler, quieter, and the breeze is steady. Families carry mats and low pillows up to rest. Conversations continue in low tones, not because of secrecy, but because the world has grown too calm for loudness. On one roof, a father retells a story to his children, not of gods or glory, but of the river, of a time when a turtle the size of a bowl wandered into their garden. The children laugh, asking if it's true. The father shrugs, maybe, maybe not. On another roof, a teenage girl sits alone, weaving dried grasses together. She's not making anything in particular. Her hands move because they like the feel of the fibers. Her eyes flick between the fading horizon and a single bright star. A soft flute plays. The
the same one carved earlier. Its song is wandering, half memory, half improvisation. It weaves through the alleyways, over the rooftops, between thoughts. Below, oil lamps flicker into being. Little flames caught in small clay bowls, placed near doorways, along walls, and inside rooms. They cast long shadows, the kind that dance gently and disappear when you try to follow them. Dinner is quiet. There is no table as you know it. Food is shared while sitting cross-legged on the floor, hands breaking bread, dipping into stew. No plates, just a common bowl and fingers, well practiced in the etiquette of togetherness. And when the meal is done, no rush follows. Bellies full, voices trail into stillness. Some recline, others sip the last of the cool date wine. Someone hums. The stars begin to arrive in full. They appear not all at once, but one by one, as if shy, as if checking to make sure they're welcome. The rooftops become silent theaters to their entrance. And there, beneath their gaze, the village prepares for sleep. The village is now bathed in the deep velvet of night. The breeze has cooled the air, and the smell of clay, smoke, and the faintest trace of cooking herbs still lingers, like a memory not quite ready to fade. From the rooftops, a stillness reigns, the kind that feels full, not empty. People lie on mats, their bodies gently stretched, wrapped in cloth. Some speak in murmurs. Others stare at the stars until their eyes blur and dreams begin to leak into waking thought. Below, a few homes still glow faintly. Inside one, a mother rocks her baby. Her voice is not singing, but humming, a low circular sound that loops and returns. The baby stirs, then quiets again. Another family quietly rearranges sleeping spaces, adjusting mats and placing baskets where they will not be disturbed. It is a small ritual repeated nightly. There is comfort in it. A clay lamp flickers on a windowsill. The flame bends, stretches, then settles into a soft rhythm. A boy lies nearby, eyes open. He watches the light move on the wall and imagines it is a small firebird dancing to the wind's breath. Outside, the world is not silent. It breathes. Crickets chirp near the canal. A frog calls from under a rock. The leaves of the date palms rustle like whispers. In the fields, all is dark, but not lifeless. The canal water reflects a sliver of moonlight, and here and there a nocturnal bird stirs in its nest. The oxen are asleep, slow breaths rising in the cool air, the scent of hay and soil surrounding them. Back in the village, a group of elders sit near a smoldering fire. They do not speak. One pokes the embers with a stick, coaxing a small glow. Another adds a pinch of dried herb, and it releases a curl of fragrant smoke, part offering, part memory. The flute plays again, just a few notes, uncertain. Then it stops. It is enough. On one rooftop, two children speak softly about the stars. "That one is shaped like a boat," the girl says. Her brother nods. "And that one is a fish." They go quiet for a long time. Then the girl says, "I think they're watching us." The brother replies, "Maybe we're watching them." In a nearby home,
A father places a palm on his child's back, a gesture of warmth and safety. The child has already fallen asleep. Slowly, the oil lamps are extinguished one by one, some with a puff of breath, others by placing a clay lid gently over the flame. The darkness grows soft and complete. Above, the stars turn, ancient, patient, watching the village sleep just as they have for thousands of years. And somewhere in the distance, maybe even in your ears, the breeze carries the soft rhythm of night, the time when no work is done, no plans are made, only dreams drift quietly from rooftop to rooftop.
Now the village has surrendered fully to sleep. The rooftops are still. No more whispered stories, no more curious eyes watching constellations. Only breath, slow and deep. A breath shared by dozens of people, tucked quietly into their beds beneath the dark sky. In one home, a lone ember glows within a clay hearth. It isn't needed for heat now, only comfort. The faint red light touches the edge of a nearby pot and the toe of a sandal. No movement, just that single glow, pulsing like the memory of a fire. In the farthest house at the edge of the village, a woman shifts in her sleep. She dreams of weaving. The threads in her dream are gold and blue. The loom never tangles. It is the kind of dream that leaves behind peace, not questions. A baby stirs and is soothed by the natural warmth of his mother's side. No one needs to wake. The rhythm of sleep continues. Outside, the canal flows like it always has, unseen now, but not forgotten. Frogs echo across its banks, the reeds bow with the breeze, and the stars ripple in the shallow surface. The moon is high and bright. It drapes silver across the landscape, highlighting the outline of rooftops, baskets, sleeping goats. It does not ask for attention. It simply watches, as it has done forever. Time slows. Minutes no longer matter. The night deepens. A gentle rustling comes from the storage hut. Perhaps a mouse nosing through grain. Perhaps only wind playing with a loosened reed. Even the dogs sleep now, their ears relaxed, their breath even. Their duty is rest, the same as everyone else. In a distant home, an old man lies on his mat. His hands are folded over his chest, his thoughts drifting far. He remembers water on his back as a boy, standing in the canal during the flood season. He remembers the first basket he ever wove, crooked and lopsided. He remembers his mother's voice humming the same tune he still hears in his dreams. A sigh escapes him, not of pain, but contentment. Above, a thin cloud passes, blurring a few stars. They return as quickly as they faded. Somewhere, maybe nearby, maybe in the imagination, a flute sounds again. Just a handful of notes, a soft farewell to the day. And now, in this hush, the village is wrapped in the deepest silence it will know. A silence filled with presence, not absence. You feel it too, the weight of stillness, the softness of time stretched like fabric, smooth and unwrinkled. The night holds everything, the dreams of children,
the memories of elders, the warmth of shared sleep. It is all here, and it will remain until the next breath of dawn returns.
Before the sky even begins to lighten, something shifts. A breeze passes through the palms with a different rhythm, not the lull of night, but the soft prelude to dawn. The air is no warmer, no brighter, but it carries something new, a quiet awakening. In one corner of the village, a rooster stirs, not quite ready to call, but aware. Its claws scratch faintly at the ground, testing the feel of the earth beneath its feet. On a rooftop, a woman rolls over and opens her eyes. She does not rise yet. She watches the horizon, barely visible. There is no urgency, only a sense, something within her that says, the night is ending. Across the homes, similar moments ripple outward, not in sync, not forced, just a few at a time, a stretch of fingers, the shift of a foot beneath a blanket, a breath drawn deeper than sleep requires. Inside one home, a child begins to stir. He does not wake fully, just turns onto his back and reaches blindly for the hand of his mother, who is already awake. She takes it. The ember in the hearth has gone dark, but still holds warmth. It takes only a few wisps of straw, a few gentle blows, and it glows again, a tiny, tender sun before the sun. The sound of water drips somewhere, a pot left half covered, catching condensation from the cooler night air. Outside, the canal murmurs a different song now, tuned to the hush before activity. A man sits at the edge of his mat and rubs his eyes. He yawns, then smiles, not to anyone in particular, just to the morning, to the fact that he has woken again. The first call of the rooster comes then, not loud, not demanding, just a note in the air, a marker. A goat bleats once. A clay cup knocks gently against a wall as a hand reaches out to steady it. There is no alarm, no single start time. The village wakes as it slept, in ripples, in breath, in soft awareness. A woman lights her lamp again, not because she needs it, but because it feels right. Her daughter sits beside her. They press lentils and herbs together for the morning meal. The scent of warming grain begins to drift outward. A boy claps dust from his hands, left over from last night's game. He laughs softly to himself, remembering. As the sky lightens, barely, birds begin their conversations. They perch on the edges of roofs, the branches of the date palms, the edges of the fields beyond. The stars are fading now, still present, but distant, like a dream you're almost ready to forget. And then, at last, a line of gold, thin, pale, the barest blade of sunlight across the eastern ridge. The first true light touches the highest edge of the tallest home, then it crawls slowly downward, stretching long shadows that shrink with time. A new day has begun, but the village is not rushed. It knows the rhythm. It remembers what to do. It stretches. It breathes. It begins again.
As light spreads through the village, you begin to see it clearly again. The shapes, the textures, the soft outlines of homes that once lay under moonlight now bask in the beginning warmth of day. Children stretch their arms and sit up. Their hair is tousled, their eyes still soft with sleep. One yawns wide enough to bring a laugh from his sister. Another reaches for a piece of yesterday's bread left wrapped near the hearth. Doors open slowly. Dust swirls in morning light. The same pathways walked yesterday begin to fill again with movement. The woman heading toward the well, the young man untying his donkey, the children assigned to gather herbs for the day's meal. Nothing is new, but everything is renewed. In a far corner of the village, a scribe sits cross-legged on a mat, arranging tablets. His fingers are ink-stained. His eyes are sharp, even this early. He picks up the stylus and begins a new line. Not a poem, not a law, just a record of grain delivered, of names tallied, of the ordinary things that make a place run. The potter returns to his wheel. The clay is soft again. He presses it down and begins to shape. His hands know the form before he begins. The form has been passed through generations. And nearby, a girl plays with a reed boat, letting it drift in a puddle near the canal. Her fingers guide it gently. She smiles without needing a reason. The air is filled with familiar sounds now, the grind of grain between stones, the low conversation of workers setting out for the fields, the creak of a door being adjusted, a goat calling for its breakfast. The village hums, not loudly, but with certainty. Soon meals will be shared. Soon stories will begin again. The tasks of the day will unfold. But for now, there is a pause, a deep breath taken before the rhythm resumes. And you too lie here, maybe still, maybe only in spirit, beneath the rising Mesopotamian sun. You have seen this village rise and rest. You have walked its paths and watched its fires fade. You have listened as it whispered to the stars and woke with the wind. And now you carry it within you. This quiet world, this steady rhythm, this cradle of everything. You may return to it whenever you wish. It will always be here, waiting, watching, breathing.